was talking last week to someone I consider to be a smart guy, and he'd been paying £100 to a lead generation service. Now, he wasn't very happy with what he'd been getting. He'd actually had 110 leads in just over a year, so he'd spent around £11,000. He'd only managed throughout the whole of last year to convert 3 of those leads, which in respect is a low number. And he was having a right old whinge and a whine about the poor quality of the leads that he was getting through from the lead generation provider, and I respect that can be time consuming. I said to him though, you know those 3 sales that you mentioned, how much were they worth to you? And his reply was £320,000. So I challenged him to say, honestly, tell me, would you pay the 11 grand and wade through 107 fairly poor quality leads to get to those 3 little gems that are worth over 300 grand? A light bulb went on, and I know it's obvious when I'm telling the story, but people don't do it. So many people are keen, they're over keen, they're way over enthusiastic to embrace the mantra. Oh, the quality of leads is a bit rubbish. Well, actually it's dumb, and it's actually only done by people that don't understand their numbers. And the reason they don't understand their numbers is because they're not engaging with those numbers at the right level of frequency. Because statistically, most businesses in the country only look at their numbers once a year. They get their annual accounts, and they usually get them from their accountant, say 6, 7, maybe 8 months after the year end. Now hold that thought for a moment. 8 months after the year end. Some progressive switched on business owners will get monthly management accounts. That's really important, especially if you're on a high growth trajectory. So those people are looking at their numbers at least 12 times a year. But then we've also got the really switched on business owners. They're typically the ones that are making the biggest, the fastest, the most progress in their business, because they've got a weekly scorecard. Now, the power of a weekly scorecard is that it keeps you focused on a weekly basis of the high payoff activities, the important things. You're focused on what you need to focus on, so distractions, interruptions are minimal. And if you're looking at your numbers on a weekly basis, well, you get 52 chances to tweak the tiller and adjust the course of direction. Now, of course, if you have a daily scorecard, well, then you can look at your numbers every single day. And that means that you can pay attention and tweak the tiller and change the course 365 times a year. It's about finding that balance that's right for you, weekly, daily, monthly information. Now, what I've discovered and experienced over the years is one of the key elements is properly getting to understand your numbers in the business. And it's the frequency with which you interact with those numbers. I mean, just think about it. The logic's pretty clear, isn't it? You get your numbers once a year. They're not shaping your business very much. Get your numbers 12 times a year. Well, at least you're in the game. You can do something, I guess. But start to get your weekly scorecard in place, then you've got 52 chances every year to take stock of what's happening with your numbers, tweaking that tiller and adjusting the course. Or with a real live daily scorecard, maybe that's one that's even an electronic one or a whiteboard in your office. It starts to mobilise and focus your team every single day. So I didn't want this video to be too preachy, but I really do want to encourage you to start encouraging and engaging with your numbers more often. Whether that's your turnover and your margins and your sales, the number of leads or your conversion rates. Whatever the key numbers are that will be responsible for driving your business to where you want it to be, because the higher the frequency, the better results. So what are your success drivers that need to keep your score on a more regular basis? I'll leave you with this thought. You can't win the game if you don't know the score. And if I can help you identify your SCARD, then let's talk.